Hello, family members. Hope you're having a nice day today. I'm sitting here and enjoying a nice little afternoon, evening thunderstorm. And I just got finished watching the interview that Adam Conover just posted with ContraPoint's Natalie Wynn. And there was something that they discussed that kind of caught my attention, and I wanted to kind of expand on it. And so here we are. When Adam is like introducing Natalie, he says like she's a YouTuber and what else would you say? Writer or philosopher or how else? And she says, I don't, just YouTuber. I don't see why we would need to complicate it. And then later on, there's this discussion about like what other sorts of projects she may be interested in doing at some point in the future, like writing a book or something. And what Adam says, and I think is true, is that what her videos are the book. They describe her most recent video as like a PhD dissertation, and it is. It's a book, but presented in an audiovisual format, a philosophy text that uses Twilight as a framing device to discuss heterosexuality from an outsider's perspective, which is kind of interesting, right? And, she's like, yeah, like I'm a YouTuber. I like being a YouTuber. I like, being a one person or mostly one person operation and having editorial control to make what I want to make, because and she I believe is correct when she says that she's built an audience that trusts her enough to say, you may not think you want to watch a hours long video about Twilight, but believe me, you do. Like, watch this and you will enjoy it, and that's true. And I liked it. Adam Conover, who said he had absolutely no exposure to Twilight before, said, that he loved that video and had taken some really interesting points out of it, and I don't think that product could be made in any other way. There's not really any other medium than YouTube to make this kind of content. But a lot of big YouTubers, especially ones that have academic backgrounds, try to downplay the fact that they're a quote-unquote YouTuber or, YouTuber right? And I think that kind of goes back to my video from like a couple of days ago where I was talking about Dan Olson's video about James Rolfe and how, James Rolfe kind of would present himself as not a YouTuber, like that's a beneficial thing to describe yourself as not a YouTuber, right? And even though that's the guy's 20-year-long career, and the end of that video makes it fairly explicit that this was a meditation on Dan's profession. Is it wrong for himself to think of himself as more than a YouTuber, or to be a YouTuber and I think the point of it is sort of the similar thing, that that he needed to, learn how to be okay with himself as a YouTuber and not let other people trying to pretend that they are YouTubers who are maybe not as good at actually producing YouTube videos, make him think less of YouTube as a medium for delivering the documentaries, whatever videos he wants to make. And I think that all of this speaks to the very painful self-awareness that many thinkers on the left have. If you think back to when H. Bomber Guy released his plagiarism video, he was very self-conscious about not wanting to make a drama video, and in the course of his, investigation, essentially making a quote-unquote drama video, and being just very acutely self-aware of the fact that that's what he was doing, to the point where he felt that he had to make sure that he had no financial reason to ever do that again. Which is a strange thing, right? Because he doesn't have to do it again, even if he did have a financial reason. He could have given himself a financial reason to do it again and just not done it again anyway. And I'm certain that he and the people that he worked with put in a lot of time and effort on that video. And it was an important topic. And it really helped people learn a lot about how to watch different types of videos on YouTube. Honestly, that's something. Media literacy for YouTube specifically is just not something we talk about nearly enough. That video really, I think, changed the way that people look at content on YouTube in general. I mean, look how many people freaking watch that thing. It's ridiculous. And that's not just because it's a drama video, okay? Wow, I mean, if they wanted to just want the drama, there's always going to be people who recap videos like that and summarize them and talk about them or react to them or whatever. You don't have to watch the original video to get the ideas from any video. If you are watching the original video, there's a reason why you wanted to see the whole context. So, the bread tube self-awareness, it seems like that's something you see in a lot of the sort of bigger, more academic YouTube creators on the left. You see that. You see the painful self-awareness. I'd say you see that a lot with, say, Lindsay Ellis, or I just watched Jessie Gender's about a video about her movie that she released yesterday, sort of discussing how it was made and the behind the scenes and the process and a lot of different things, and there was so much in it that was very self-aware, very self-conscious, and I think that that's something that is a key component of what makes a good left-wing YouTuber. Somebody who is unflinchingly honest, even with themselves, about themselves. And that's tough. It is tough to be that honest with yourself without, turning it into having negative self-worth. It's not that you don't appreciate what you can do well. It's that you do appreciate where you fall short. It's really hard to do better when you don't know what you're doing wrong. And and I think that that's something that you see over and over again with say little Joel, or I mean, just if you can think of a left-wing YouTuber and you think about it, you're gonna go, wow, yeah, they really are extremely self-aware. And I think one thing for me is that self-awareness, it's so easy for me to remember, or so easy for me to be self-aware and to know that I'm self-aware, and that I, take the time to see things from more than just my perspective, and see my own faults, and see, that when other people who don't have that self-honesty, try to tell me what I'm doing wrong or right, it just seems so absurd. Like, what do you think that how do you think that you're going to see me better than I see myself, when I clearly can see that you don't see yourself as clearly as I see yourself? Example of this, and I'll try to be slightly vague because, it's another person isn't included in this example, of course, but after I got ill the first time with the cancer, people around me were really supportive. Like, I was very pleasantly surprised by how much, support and love and everything that I got. And this time that didn't happen. And I think the big difference is that, before, I basically wasn't public about my health crisis until at the same time I got my diagnosis, more or less. I pretty much knew I had cancer about the same time that, I got really sick and had to go to the hospital and have multiple blood transfusions and couldn't ignore the fact that I was sick anymore, But this time around, I've pretty much been open about the fact that I've had this health crisis from the beginning. And here I am more than 3 years later, and I still don't have, real diagnosis. I haven't even been able to start any sort of treatment. I don't have any idea of prognosis. And so I think that it makes it harder for other people to understand that this is harder for me emotionally, physically, financially, every single way possible, harder for me than having actual cancer was. And because there's no name I can put on it, I'm just sick, and so I've had someone that I love and I'm very close to, who, this has stressed all of my relationships. It undoubtedly stressed all of my relationships, because I'm not the same person that I used to be. I'm just not. I can't be. I don't have the energy. And so, I had someone who I was talking to, a very close person, who was like, you don't understand how what's going on with you has affected me. And I'm just like, I can't even believe that you would think that, honestly. Because I am so acutely self-aware, so acutely aware of how it affects everyone around me. I feel like a burden. I feel like I'm disappointing everybody. I feel like just inadequate in every sense, And for someone to think for even a second that the only reason that we're in conflict about something is because I haven't considered how what's going on with me has affected them, absolutely bonkers. Like, seriously. And I was just so taken aback by that because I can't imagine what it would be like to be that clueless, to be in that much denial about yourself or reality or the truth. And I think that's why, leftist YouTubers speak to me, a lot of them. I'm not like super duper lefty. I think I honestly, if the Overton window had not been dragged so freaking far to the right that there's almost no way to not be the left if you have like any relationship with truth, reality, and compassion, I think I would probably be somewhat centrist. I mean, there are views that I have that that are a little bit conservative when I think about it, and I'm like, I interrogate myself on those thoughts. But I'm not as passionately left wing as, say, a Thought Slime or something like that, right? But I'm also I can also appreciate someone like that who is that passionate and has different beliefs than me, because I can see in them that it's a sincere expression of their beliefs, that it's thought through, that they believe what they believe because they've thought about themselves, their place in the world, the people around them, people who are not them, and come up with a set of beliefs that make sense to them based on all of the information that they've processed in their life. And I like that, I think the hallmark of the right is willful ignorance. It's wanting something to be true to the point that you're willing to pretend that it is true even when it's not, in the hopes that somehow that'll change what reality to what you want it to be. Good example is the transphobic bigot Kelly J. Keane over in the UK. She real piece of work. But like, oh no, I forgot what I was thinking about. Dang brain. Okay. See, this is what I'm talking about when I say I'm not who I used to be. Okay. All right. Am I completely derailed? Oh no. Okay. Give me a sec. Sorry about that. I finally remember what I was talking about. I'm sorry. Anyway, so yeah, good example is Kelly J. Keane, because she says there are no such thing as trans people. She says that trans people don't exist, that it's not a real thing, that there's no such thing as being transgender. I mean, that's almost basically a direct quote. And it's almost like if she must on some level believe that if she says that enough times, if she can convince enough cisgender women and men to agree with her, that somehow that's going to make that statement true. And it's not. It's just not. They can try to pretend that the reality they want to live in is the reality they live in as much as they want, but it's not actually going to make reality any better. It's not necessarily even going to make reality anything more like what they want it to be like, And it's so funny, it's so funny how people who refuse to self-reflect can be so passionate and so loud and so short-sighted at the same time. Who, I don't understand that level of certainty, I guess. I guess, what they say is that people who are the most certain are the people who know the least and the most about a topic. People who know something in the middle generally know enough to know how much they don't know, and so they don't feel as confident about how much they know on that topic. And so in order to get YouTube videos, you get the two extremes of that. Your leftist YouTubers are the ones that do the extreme amounts of research and take the time to make things that are very, very authoritative and accurate. They really deeply discuss and analyze something and give a real reality of what that topic is and is about. And on the other end, you have people speak authoritatively on topics on the right who know basically nothing about what they're talking about. It's like the Matt Walsh conservative from the Lady Ballers movie. That character that he plays is nothing like nothing like a liberal, rather. I'm sorry. He's playing what he thinks a liberal is like. And that's not anything what a liberal is like, It's just so obvious that they don't know what they're talking about. They don't know what trans people are like. They don't know what gay people are like. They don't know what anything that they oppose. They don't really know where those types of people are coming from. They try to dehumanize people and say that they oppose trans rights or trans activists instead of just say oppose trans people. And then they, can, I guess, accept that they don't need to know anything more about whatever it is that they're so passionately talking about because they know it's so obviously wrong, And it's just like, it's interesting to see how that is cultivated on one side of the political spectrum as far as like YouTube culture versus the other. Your Steven Crowders, your Brett Coopers, your Lauren Southerns, your Jordan Petersons, your all of those types are just aggressively, willfully ignorant. Dave Rubin, aggressively, willfully ignorant, to the point where he's getting like his ass handed to him by fucking Megyn Kelly. That was so funny. Oh my gosh, yeah, imagine being so factually wrong that Megyn Kelly's like, yeah, guy, you are way off base on that. But it's that aggressive, willful ignorance that is a power play in a way. It's like, I don't care about what you say reality is. I'm going to say what I believe reality is, and I'm going to be more correct than you by virtue of Whereas on the left, what you get is people who say, I'm going to make a more valid argument than you. I'm going to, say what is true and say what reality is. And I believe that my interpretation is supported by enough evidence that people will also agree with me. And I don't know, that's far more compelling to me, honestly. But, big nerd here, so Full disclosure, big nerd. Anyway, the goddaughter's probably going to be back here in a little bit, so I probably ought to wrap up and finish the small amount of production that goes into making my terrible YouTube videos. Yes, I know, I am acutely self-aware as well. I might not be a big left-wing YouTuber, but I am a very self-aware leftish YouTuber, so you get what you get. All right, family members. I hope you have a great day. Let me see if I can get a Leslie or something for you. Leslie, you want to come see? I'm attached to the camera. This might not work. Ugh. Cat. Come here, Kiki. Oh, meow. Say hi. Say hi to our family members. All right, family members, take care of yourselves. Don't knock over the camera, Leslie. No.